Hey, it's D. It's a brand new episode coming right for you, right on the FTO network. Enjoy. Hey yo. How's it going, everybody? This is D of FTO Nerd Talk. I know you just heard that awesome promo in the beginning. Goodness, it sounds so great. Welcome to the show. This is FTO Podcast. It's fun to be back. It is a day late. You're hearing this on a Thursday, but I am recording this also on a Thursday. Just a busy week. My wife has some friends coming over. It's going to be just a long extension of like the products that are coming out. Like blerd-news probably going to be a wait. I got the FTO Comic Point with Yo and Nerd coming out Sunday. So stuff's going to be coming out, but it's just going to be like a little bit delayed. So I'm sorry for the wait, but you know, it's been a fun week. It's been a DC week, really. Like a whole week has been a lot about DC. There's been some Marvel stuff like in the air, but mostly it's been DC, HBO Max, stuff like that. It's been fun and really interesting. I've been listening to a lot of different podcasts. Two Black Nerds. I've been listening to Bald Black Nerds. I've been listening to Undisputed Podcasts. I've been listening to, what else that's out there I've been listening to? There's a lot of different podcasts. I just told myself, you know what? I made that YouTube video. I'm pretty sure you guys saw the video I made about not many black nerds or black media like that's predominantly for nerds are out there. And I told myself, you know what? It's kind of hypocritical of me to talk about this, but not talk about, or listen to more podcasts or more mediums who do news for the black community. So other places, Cheesy Controller, Black Girl Nerd, Oversaturated, the podcast. It's also what I'm listening to, and Anime Talk, and of course, Girls Go Book Deep. That's what I'm listening to. So, and I have this in my queue. I haven't listened to them in a while. They haven't made a podcast since May 13th, but Blerd Life with My Wife is also one of them that I have in my queue that I need to listen to. They're all wherever you can find podcasts. Also, listen to Two Idiots and a Dog. Listen to Two Idiots and a Dog is really interesting. They gave me a promo this week because they're just cool dudes. Just who they are. But they really go in depth about just certain topics, certain films, certain comics, and just go into a whole list of what they like about, a little mini review, 10 minutes. It's a really cool vibe. Listening to Black Nerds, they go into every single topics of news throughout the week, much like myself. So if you want something that's similar to what I do, just two guys talking about, the news out there. They have a pretty favoritism towards the WWE, which is not something I am for whatsoever. But Bald Black Nerds, really interesting podcast. They are a little hyperactive for my taste, but they have a good vibe, good chemistry with each other. Cheesy Controller, really cool guys. Talk a lot about video games. Really fun stuff. I also forgot to mention Fukunami Podcast. They talk about a lot of stuff, but they haven't done a podcast in about, I think it's been July 13th, so it's been a while for them. Of course, Two Black Nerds, they talked about them. Oversaturated Podcast, they go into a whole different view of different topics, from music to the hip-hop culture to movies. They're very versatile with their nerddom, and I appreciate that. They do have a dislike for some MCU, much like myself, which I appreciate, but I'm not sure what the extent of that dislike really is yet. I want to see why they don't really like the MCU in certain aspects. I won't say that's a general they don't, but for some parts, they do not care for it. Anime Talk, this dude is really particular about how he goes into his thoughts and process when it comes to anime, and I really appreciate that. He goes into a whole list, a encyclopedia list of anime, and it's really good. Girls Go Book Deep. They talk about a lot about their life, a lot about breakdowns of TV shows and series, and they really cut loose on what they think about certain things and processes. I did forget about one also, the Blur Spectrum. The Blur Spectrum is a really good spot to listen to people talk about how the culture, the blerd culture, is really changing and shaping certain things, from cosplay to anime to music, and how that culture is changing within on social media, at conventions, even in media. It's really interesting to see those different types of takes and like I really am here for it. So like let's get on with the show because it's been one wild week. Let's see. First off, when it comes to the news, we have Spider-Man freshman year is not canon to the MCU, and like a lot of things give this away. But the real big hook to all this is like it's Norman Osborn shows up to Peter's home instead of Tony Stark and offers him a job, essentially, and like they're calling it a what if type of story. I wouldn't go so far as to call it a what if kind of stuff. Like I feel like what if is like a what if like a big major event happened and changed the character forever. But it seems like Spider-Man's still going to be Spider-Man, just what Norman Osborn says. Like it doesn't feel like a what if. It just feels like, an alternate universe. But like, it's Marvel. They can call it whatever they like. But I may watch this. Like, it looks interesting. Tom Holland won't be a part of it, but it does seem like really interesting. Next news, we got movie news. Ben Affleck Batman confirmed for return in Aquaman 2. Jason Momoa and Ben Affleck took a picture together. Momoa posted it on his page, and the rest is history, as they say. Like Ben Affleck is coming back. And, like, this makes sense. When you think about it, like, with the whole Amber Heard situation and, like, her being a part of like Aquaman 2 and like her not being taken out of it. First off, I want to say about that whole Johnny Depp, Amber Heard controversy that like everyone talks about, they're both awful individuals. Like both of them. Like you can keep talking about like, oh, I don't like Amber Heard, like she did XYZ to Johnny Depp, blah, 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 blah. I mean, like, yeah, she did. But he did horrible things too. Like if you guys watch that trial, I watched parts of it. I saw a lot of like the humor that people tried to like to go inside of it. I saw some people like trying to analyze like quirks and ticks of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. Like, they're both awful individuals. So they kind of cancel each other out. So, like, watching their films, I really don't care anymore. Like, I'm just going to watch it. I'm going to watch Aquaman pretty soon because I haven't seen it. So, that's going to be a thing for me pretty soon. And I'm going to watch Aquaman too. Like, as a person who doesn't really care too much for Ben Affleck's films, like, I'm on track with watching, like, him as Batman. Like the Cider Bros win. All right? Forget it. I don't even care anymore. Like, just give me some more DC. Because this is a DC week. Because DC wins this week. So, there you go. That's the name of the episode. But yeah, it's really cool to see this happening. We got 2, possibly 3 Batmen. We're going to talk about the third Batman here pretty soon, like on this podcast. But we got Pattinson doing his thing in a whole alternate universe. And then, like, you got Ben Affleck doing his thing here. Like, and he's supposed to be inside of the Flash movie as well. So, it's going to be like a thing, man. Like, I am here for this. I don't care what anybody says. I am here for this. This is fun. This is much different than what Marvel is doing. Like, not to gripe on what Marvel's doing. You guys know, like, I'm not a big MCU fan. But, like, I just talked about a whole episode about how great Marvel is doing with FTCC and like the things they're putting out there. But this is also pretty interesting. But like, don't get my hopes up too high because there's some news that's coming up pretty soon that I'm sure all of you know about. Next up, Kevin Feige says Fantastic Four reboot won't be an origin story. Thank goodness. As much as I love origin stories, like I don't want to see their origin story unless it's a flashback. Like, give it to me in the flashback. I don't need like a whole like, oh my goodness, we just grew up. We just came out of college. Now we're going on this mission. I don't need that. I just don't. Like, like I love origin stories. I really do, especially like when you get like a good director who cares about the source material, but MCU doesn't care about source material. Comic book accuracy, it's not their thing. So don't give me an origin story. Just don't do it. Just don't. And, like, something can be said, like say, for Batman. Like, if we're not doing comic book origin stories. Like, sometimes it doesn't need to be done. Sometimes it can just be kind of like a shadow in the wind. Like an old ghost that haunts the character. And, like, I am here for that. So, that's happening. I think Kevin Feige says a lot of people know this origin story. A lot of people know the basics. How do you take that and bring something that they've never seen before? And, that's good. But don't make it hokey. Just please don't. But it's MCU, so it's probably going to be. Oh, I did so good until I said that. Anyways. Game news. Warhammer 40K. Dark Tide delayed again. So this game has been delayed a few times. It was the game will be launching November 30th. For the PC platform, the Xbox Series XIS release are still planned too, but they'll be coming after the PC release. No set launch date at this time. So, Warhammer 40k, gonna be a delay. I know this game. It is a fun game. I know a lot of people are like hardcore fans of Warhammer, but this is a blow, especially like for the Warhammer fan. But like all games getting set back is always a good thing because they take care of the glitches, as we know from certain games that came out recently, like Cyberpunk. Like you want the game to take a while to come out because you don't want those glitches. You just don't. More gaming news. New PlayStation controller revealed. This is from the CEO of Backbone, Manette Carrera. Players can download the Backbone app for a customized PlayStation experience. Inside the app, you'll see various PlayStation integrations such as custom glyphs representing the iconic PlayStation shape and the abilities to browse hundreds of game titles. I'm here for this. I bought like a little controller like this before on Amazon. It's like you just plug it inside of your phone. The downside is that you can't have your case on it when you're using it. But, to be able to play PlayStation games through your phone, through this application, like, why wouldn't you want that? Like, I don't even, like, have a console. But, like, if I can just, like, use my phone as a console, like, hey, giddy up. Right? And, like, the beautiful part about this is, like, if this is, like, the future of gaming, like, I am here for it. Especially if I can stream this to my television and it's seamless. Like Backbone, you may have made like a customer out of me. I'm just saying, like, if I gotta have like a console before this though, maybe not so much. But if I don't need a console and I can just like use this device and get like a PlayStation account, like hell yeah, I'm all here for that. Like who wouldn't be? Also in gaming news, I should have got Anton to join me on this from Cheesy Controller. That would have been a great call. Diablo Immortal has already made over $100 million in mobile alone. Good gods. And like, here's the cool and interesting fact about this, that a lot of fans are not very happy about this game. Like, I talked to Frosty Fukudame, and he tells me that there are not a lot of people who are happy about this game. There's like rating on Metacritic. I think I talked about this on the show, that it has like a very low rating, like 30 or 40. It's in the red. I know that for a fact. It is not a good rating for this game. Diablo Immortal was able to bring in even more money than that of Fortnite back when it first released on mobile platforms. Like this game beat out Fortnite. And as you know, I am a big Diablo fan. Like, I'm so much into Diablo. I got my son into Diablo. And like, yes, he was scared of the zombies at first, but like, he woke up the next morning and was like, Dad, can I play some Diablo? And he did. He made like 3 or 4 characters, and like, he was a very, very big fan of that game. Like, it may have like a hard rating to it, but like the graphics is nothing. And he doesn't play the story mode. He just goes around just beating up characters, man. Nothing too fancy. So, it's all good in the hood, as they say. So, next up in TV news, Abbott Elementary, full season to stream on both HBO Max and Hulu. The full 13 episode first season already on Hulu will debut August 20th on HBO Max. Season 2, whose order has been upped to a full 22 season episode, will premiere September 21st on ABC. So if you're a big Abbott Elementary fan, if you have Hulu or HBO Max, buckle up because you get to watch the show. So it's a good show. It's like a Parks and Recs Office kind of vibe to it, but definitely a different kind of feel in that show. It's more like the characters are breaking the fourth wall the entire time. Than like say like someone like recording the show and all that. Like it's as if it's a reality show in a way. And like I guess like you can say the same thing about The Office, but like this definitely has like a different feel because like they're teachers, and like you get to see like the people who are working along with the teachers, as to say like a park or a paper company. I think I also said this on this show. I'm just repeating myself a lot. But like, I am like a big fan of Abbott. I laugh a few times as I'm watching this. Quinita is hilarious. Quinita Bronson, like who's like the head of the show, she is absolutely hysterical. And like, I'm really glad for all her success that she's going through right now. In TV news, The Wilds has been canceled by Amazon Prime after 2 seasons. Yeesh. The show launched in December 11th of 2020. And it was renewed quickly But after the second season, no one really wanted to see it. Like after this May, like Amazon Prime is like, all right, we had fun. I think Yellow Jackets could probably have something to do with it. Like people saw like what Showtime can do as opposed to what Prime can do. And like I got to tell you, if you haven't seen Yellow Jackets, I think it won like it's nominated for some awards for the Emmys, and it's worth the nominations. Like Yellow Jackets is a hell of a show. It's dark, it's gritty. You see some disturbing things in this, and like, wow. Like, in all honesty, like, it seems like the story itself is, like, in a way, Yellow Jackets, like, a bit tame. I know, like, I'm talking about, like, a show that I've seen instead of, like, a show that's the topic it's about. I haven't seen it in a while, so I can't really talk about it. But if this first season, as good as everyone keeps saying it is, I should probably check it out. But maybe I won't watch the second season. Who knows, right? But Yellow Jackets is a good show. If you haven't watched it, it's a Showtime show. It's worth watching. But I'll check out The Wilds. I'll post something on Twitter. So make sure you follow my Twitter, FTO Nerd Talk on Twitter, and I see if I talk about it in the future. Twitch news: Pokimane passed as most watched female streamer by Amorinant. I think that's how you say her name. 8.2 million hours of Amorinant stream content has been watched in Q2, I guess like the quarter two, 2022. The closest female streamer to this is Pokimane with 4.5 million. Wow. Now, I had a talk with someone also, I won't say any names about this one, but like they talked about how like this Amorinant, again, I think that's how you say her name, and it says like she doesn't really play any games. And she doesn't really follow like the culture that most people who play games do, like playing games as like they are wearing like scantily clad clothes or doing hot tub stuff, like mostly at night, not so much during the daytime. So like the way like he was explaining to it made it seem like she was more pandering to the male gaze, as you say, like being like a traditional streamer. But I also read the comments that I posted this on in Instagram, and a lot of people told me that Pokimane is more of has not been posting as much, especially not as much as Amoriant, and like as I just said to you, 8.2 million as opposed to 4.5 million hours. Like it's a big difference. But also like in that same post on Instagram, they also said that this Amoriant also reposts old lives on their Twitch. So. Is it business? Is it pandering? Like I don't know. Like, but people are talking about it. Oddly enough, people are talking about it. This is a conversation that people are having. Surprisingly, hey, we're talking about it too. So there you go. Next up, Chongqi director Destin Daniel Cretton tapped for Avenger: The King Dynasty. So he is directing The King Dynasty. A little Chongqi director. They're keeping it in house. I think like Two Black Nerds recently talked about this also on their podcast. There'll probably be like other guys talking about this too, because this is pretty big news for a lot of people. But King Dynasty is getting the Chongqi director, Cretton. The movie comes out May 2nd, 2025. It is the fifth Avengers film, and it's going to be the first of a two-parter that comes out in the same year. So. Like I think the second movie is Secret Wars. Comes out after that, around Christmas time, November, November, December, around that time. But yeah, so am I gonna watch it? I don't know. Like, is it good news? Yeah. Like everyone talks like highly about Shang-Chi. I haven't seen it, of course, but people talk highly about this movie. Like really good. Like I asked a question recently on Twitter. Like, is it worth watching the Phase 4 of Marvel? Like, did you get any kind of like value from it? And like I think this Oversaturated podcast talked about this, and a lot of people said, yeah, it was worth watching. I've seen some of Phase 4. I can't agree, but some different strokes, right? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Chukwudi Iwuji on playing the High Evolutionary. So, along with Adam Warlock, Will Poulter, the Guardians of the Galaxy also had to contend with Chukwudi Iwuji, the High Evolutionary. And if you've watched A Peacemaker, you know that, for me, I talked about this on the show, that he was the best part of the show. And, like, it's nice to see that he is working with Gunn again as a High Evolutionary, a part of Guardians of the Galaxy. This is awesome. Like, this makes me want to watch the movie now because he is going to be in it. Like, because honestly, as you all know, I don't really mess with Chris Pratt. I don't really give my money to Chris Pratt, you know what I mean? Because, like, the Mario thing, I was kind of like gonna shrug it off. If he had, like, made, like, a whole statement about that church and him not being a part of it, like, I would not be messing with Chris Pratt. So, like you know, he made a statement about it. Maybe I can give myself some time to air out and watch all this stuff. But, like, you know, I was not going to mess with Chris Pratt for you to part of, like, a homophobic church. What's not going to happen? And I will say this. I listen to these podcasts, and I will say that, like, a lot of folks who do these podcasts do skate over, like the political nature of all these actors and, like movie executives and things like that. Because, like, the WWE it's like they were big proponents of Trump. And, like, I would not be messing with that company. That's why I don't even talk about wrestling. It's because of that reason. I don't mess with the McMahons, dude, because, like, gross. Like, they're big Trumpers. Like, no, thank you. That dude's a traitor. Why would you associate with him? Like, but, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. I guess, like, you know, it's like it's just news to you. It's not just news to me. Like, that dude's a traitor. So, next up, Amandla Stingberg. You guys know me names. I'm awful with this. Like, what am I doing this job? But you know what? I love it. I'm gonna keep doing it. It's Amandla Stenberg cast in new Star Wars series The Acolyte. So Stenberg was confirmed officially as a cast member last Friday. Both Star Wars accounts on Stenberg shared a photo standing next to R2-D2 wearing a Darth Maul shirt. Stenberg is perhaps known best for her roles as Rue in the Hunger Games, Alana Beck, and Dear Evan Hansen, and Star Carter in The Hate You Give. So, The Acolyte. This is like the whole thing I was talking about before with Star Wars. Like Star Wars is just like throwing them out. Just like how Disney did. Just throwing, like, you know, not Disney, but MCU. Just throwing out shows. Like we just talked about a few of them. Like that's what they do. Just throw shows out. It is a big difference than what you see from DC. But I think to myself, if DC popped out shows the same way the MCU would, like, would we appreciate any one of these companies in that manner? Like, I don't think we could. I don't think we can appreciate, both DC and Marvel, they both just popped out stuff like they did. I think DC having the pacing that they have makes you appreciate what they do a lot more. And it makes me think about, like, this old podcast I listened to where the question was that, like, how long would you wait to read a comic book from a creator? And most people reply back, like as long as it takes. Like as long as it's done. As long as it's done well, I'll wait as long as it takes for it to come out. And, like, I feel like a lot of nerds, even if they say they won't do that, they will do that. Because if it takes you a long time, like, to put something in, effort and time into something, you're going to wait for it. Because, like that's what they did. They put time and effort into it. So having that kind of aspect, I am here for that, definitely. So Stingberg is here. The Acolyte is coming out soon. I know that Andor is doing his thing here next, currently, which looks phenomenal. So, yeah. Wyatt Russell says Marvel hasn't called him yet for the Thunderbolts movie. So, he was asked, if Marvel reached out to him. He says, no, I'm still waiting. I know they're doing it. I know they're planning on it. And I gotta imagine there's something in there for me. But yeah, until I get the true actual promote, like, okay, this is your start date, and this is when you're coming, this is when this is when you rent your house, this is your logistical, you need to start, like he's not gonna put anything, like, out there. I'm not gonna read all this, it's him, like, having, like, a conversation with somebody, like, he's not gonna stop everything until he gets a phone call, essentially what he's saying. But it's, it needs to happen. Like, again, this is, like, even as a dude who's not an MCU, hardcore fan, like a lot of you out there, I will still watch this because Wyatt Russell, because it has Baron Zemo, because it has possibly, the Punisher, possibly, Electro Nagios. It has, all, the characters that I want to see in a Thunderbolts movie, but, like, the same kind of tone as Suicide Squad. Like, I will watch that. I'm no joke. I do think that Disney Plus is going to put out films the way HBO Max is trying to put out films. Well, trying to, I should say. Not exactly doing it, but trying to, for sure. Next up, Netflix Avatar: The Last Airbender reportedly adds Danny Pudi to the cast. Pudi's going to be the mechanics. I don't know like what that character is. I just don't. Haven't watched that last Airbender like a lot of you out there. I know it's a big cult following. The Machinist. There it is. Good cause. Whew. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, so give me a break. And so fans would have to see him fit into his live action role. It's gonna be here soon. Like I don't know. He has a very modern feel to him, but I know like the Avatar series has like some steampunk type elements to it, or Xenopop kind of elements to it. And by Xenopop, like I've been using this reference since the 90s. Xenopop is when something takes place in a very long time from now, but it has like the same kind of feel of now. So like the Princess with the Sword, A Knight's Tale, that's Xenopop. Like everything that takes place in a very long time ago type of era, but has like the same kind of like the music from now, the feel of now, the language of now. That's Xenopop. That's Xenopop. Like I wanted to catch on, but I don't think it's going to. So yeah, The Flash to end with season 9 at the CW. So 13 episodes last season, series finale. It will begin in September. September with the final season slated to debut in 2023. So it's going to end, like, technically next year. 13 episodes, show's ending. The last CW show, I think the Superman and Lois show that I refuse to watch, is also attached to the Arrowverse, technically. But, yeah. So, once this is gone, I think Stargirl is still going to. I think that's going to HBO Max, so it doesn't even matter. Yeah. Let's see. Elden Rings is getting a tabletop role-playing game. The game is being designed by Kato Hironori, the designer of Dark Souls tabletop RPG that was also released in Japan. So there's like there's a template for this already, but like it's a Dark Souls tabletop game. Like why don't most folks talk about this? Like I thought about doing a YouTube search about this, like to see if people are actually playing it, because tabletop is so big with so many, but I haven't done that yet. But I'll post something on Twitter and like see if I see something that's interesting to put out there for you guys. I do like watching people play the tabletop, but like my thing about watching people play the tabletop, there's not usually a diverse amount of people who play tabletop games. Like I know Vox Machina from Amazon Prime's The Show, and it's a show based off a lot of YouTubers who played role-playing games, or like the same characters that are on the show now. And it's hard for me to watch that show because it's like primarily white people, and like some of them are people of color looking, like they're brown or black looking, and like I can't be rocking with that. So, but yeah, Elden Rings is getting a tabletop role-playing game. There you go. Here it is. Here it is. The creme de la creme. Batgirl movie Axed won't release on HBO Max or in theaters. Now, before I get hardcore into this, I just want you to know, on Sunday, Nerd and I did go very much in depth, like for half an hour talking about this. So make sure you check out that podcast, Comic Point. We talk about that before we talk about Dark Crisis for the month of July. So, but like all that said, the Batgirl movie is shelved. Like they are not releasing it. They say like it was made for HBO Max. Warner Brothers Discovery wanted to do something a little bit different when it comes to Batgirl, and this is not it. Now, I am thinking with the release of Ben Affleck joining Aquaman 2, with fans like screaming constantly still about restore the Snyderverse, which is still intact, mind you. Like even this story has J.K. Simmons as Batgirl's father, and like it's still a part of the Snyderverse. Like Shazam is part of the Snyderverse. Black Adam is part of the Snyderverse. Like it's like the Snyderverse is restored. You just want Zack Snyder to be directing these films, and like that was kind of the problem. Like here, let's be hardcore real about that. Like that was part of the problem, is the fact that Zack Snyder was directing these films. I don't have a problem with Zack Snyder or his films. Like I did not like him doing like the Batman vs Superman film. That movie was not very good. Like let's just call that what it is. It was not. It had some good parts, but all in all, it wasn't the best film. It just like let's be real about that. But like having this happen. A lot of people are saying let's restore Batgirl, release the Batgirl cut, like release the Batgirl. Some people are also saying, like in contrary to that this is the same type of rhetoric that the Snyder Bros were saying. So Two sides of the same coin, it seems like. Fans are fans, and nerdy fans are extremists, it seems, no matter what. Now, I will say, like, this is bothering me. It is getting on my nerves to see this. It's, like, it's stressful and annoying to have all this is happening. But you know what? I don't really trust Warner Brothers Discovery. I was on board with what Warner Brothers and HBO Max was doing. It seemed like they had like a nice pace, but I don't want this to turn into whatever the MCU is, because if it does, I am done with superhero films. Like, I will put my whole energy into Star Trek. I am not kidding. This is not a joke. Like, I have 4 Batman tattoos, but I will stop partaking in this until there's some kind of rectifying method of all of this. I don't want this to go in a way of cookie cutter action films. Do not want that. I do not want like HBO to get shelled into whatever Netflix and Hulu is. I do not want that either. Like HBO Max, DC is like a brand of quality when it comes to their craft, and don't mess this up. I'm not kidding. I'm gonna be really angry if this goes on the wayside. But all that being said, let's take a little break.
What's going on, guys? My name is Nemo, and you probably know me as Who is Nemo on TikTok. And I just want to take some time out today to talk about a very special podcast. Now, that podcast is FTO Nerd Talks. Now, FTO is a podcast that gives you daily updates on all things pop culture. So if you're into anime, manga, comic books, TV shows, movies, and all that good stuff, FTO is the podcast for you. Now, I know what you're all thinking. There are so many podcasts out there that already do the same thing, and I'm about to tell you why FTO is so special. Now, FTO is so special because they emphasize on Black nerd culture. Not only that, if you like to be interactive with your favorite content creators, FTO is the special podcast for you. Now, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you just want to state your opinion about a certain project, they will engage with you. So if you haven't already, please go follow FTO Nerd Talks on all social media platforms. And if you haven't already, please do me a favor, follow them on Apple Music and Spotify so you don't miss out on their weekly podcasts. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
That was pretty cool. I got Who is Nemo from TikTok to do an ad. That was pretty cool. I like it. I'm here for it. It's epic! Goodness gracious. With all that out of the way, let's talk about things to check out this week. Resurrection with Rebecca Hall. Margaret's life is in order. She is capable, disciplined, and successful. Soon her teenage daughter, who Margaret raised by herself, will be going off to a fine university, just as Margaret had hoped. Everything is under control. That is, until David, played by Tim Roth, returns, carrying with him the horrors of Margaret's past. Resurrection. Seems interesting. I thought it was pretty interesting. DC League of Super Pets came out this week. So you guys know. I'm sure you've all seen this all over the place. Not okay. I saw this promo on Hulu, and it's about the social media platform person who does anything and everything to get herself popular and recognized, and she goes about it in the worst possible way. It's Zoe Deutch is a part of this, and Dylan O'Brien is also a part of this. It just looks hilarious. Next up, The Resort. Emma Kristen Melody and Noah William Jackson Harper are at a Mexican resort for their 10th anniversary when they become involved in a 15-year-old mystery. Ooh, sounds spooky. Rap shit. That's the swear of the show. There you go. Rap shit. Former high school friends Shauna, played by Ada Osman, and Mia, played by Chameleon, reunite in Miami to form a rap group in this comedy series by Issa Rae. Now, this looks interesting. And I heard two black nerds talk about this show, and I really want to watch it after hearing them talk about it. They said it's not insecure, but it definitely has its own pacing and its own story and process to it. It's the review they gave. It makes me want to watch it just to see what they're getting at. Game is ending. Extinction is forever. It's on the PC. Will the last mother fox on Earth will be able to save its 3 little cubs? Experience how life would be in a world ravaged by mankind through the eyes of the last fox on Earth in this eco-conscious adventure. Seems pretty interesting. I thought, the graphic looks nice at least. And the last thing to check out this week is As Dusk Falls, XBX, Xbox. Every family has secrets, every secret has a price, and Dusk Falls is an original interactive drama from Interior Night that explores the entangled lives of two families across 30 years. Looks pretty epic, actually. There is one thing I want to talk about that I did not put inside of this, is Milestone Generations. It's like a documentary on HBO Max. I definitely say check that out if you want to learn more about milestones, like that's Icon and Rocket, Hardware, Static, the Blood Syndicate. It's all about those stories, Dwayne McDuffie, and how Milestone came from what they had in the 90s and 80s to what they are now with DC Comics and their imprint. It's really interesting. So definitely check it out. Let me know what you think. Leave some comments. But comics to read: Batman 126, Fall of the Dark Knight. Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, issue number 3. I have not read this yet, but it is on the list. I am so excited to read issue number 3. It's so cool. This thing is so good so far. Oh, man. X-Men, Red number 5. Excess Devastation. No one who is not an Omega-level mutant has ever taken on the 9th seat of the Great Ring. Together, they are the greatest power Akiriko has ever known. And the 9 against 1. So if the 9 are losing, who does that say about the 1? Judgment Day has come to Red Planet. And Akiriko, greatest test since X of Swords. Like that? Like that voice? That's pretty cool. Next up is Edge of the Spider-Verse, issue number 1. This is pretty interesting. So this has a lot of different characters, a lot of another Spider-Verse story. I hope it doesn't like make people upset like the last Spider-Verse story. I hope it's more just the hype of the new multiverse Spider-Verse film that's coming out. So that's what I'm hoping this is all about. Batman White Knight presents Red Hood, issue number 1. Now this looks epic as hell. Bruce Wayne is Batman. 4 words that save Jason Todd's life and destroyed his future forever. Branched by his mentor and damaged by the Joker, the former Robin is left to become something different, something stronger, a relentless force of justice in the city. Red Hood. This looks awesome. The Red Hood series has been going pretty strong for a while now, and honestly, I can't say anything negative about the White Knight series. It's pretty epic. Even the White Knight Beyond. Philadelphia, number 24. George Washington, the first president of the United States and one of the true vampire kings, has stepped out of the shadows to take back America and remold it into something far more wicked. Now, James Singster, the son, must find a way to stop the undead commander-in-chief, but at what cost? And will there even be an America left to save after he's done with it? Now, this is getting very Blade-esque, but political at the same time. Sounds pretty cool, man. Doctor Who, Origins, issue number 3. This is featuring the Fugitive Doctor in her debut comic. Working for Mysteries Division on a dangerous assignment, the Doctor uncovers something insidious afoot. Discover why this regeneration became known as a fugitive. Really cool. That is the show. Now, I usually have something to say after all this, but my battery is low on my phone, and I really want to post this and not have any problems. But I will say, I hope you all are doing well. I know this week has been probably a little bit difficult for some of you. Summer is leaving. Fall is coming. I know I'm in the Georgias, so school has started here. Have kids. If you have kids also, I know that time is creeping up for you as well. Paying for the clothes, paying for all the new stuff, going to a school, maybe a new school, and I had to talk to the principal this week about what happened last year. So that was a big step for me. Never done that before. I talked to a principal about how I had some problems with the year before, but it was very understanding. It was very grown up thing for me to do, and it was very, very different for me to do also. But It was a good week this week. My wife has a friend coming over from Minnesota, so there's that. She asked me to ask folks about books to read, about grieving, because she had lost 2 brothers last year within a month's time. I know I talked about this on the show before. It that was a rough go. Whew, my goodness, like the amount of growth a person can go through when you lose two siblings, and like I had to like to just, take a seat back and just watch it be out and be supportive, like, and like also like adjust my feelings to all this as well. It was something to say that. Like, I can't really put words to what that feels like for me. So I can only imagine what she feels as she goes on day in and day out. And, whew, man. So that was interesting. My kids are growing, getting smarter, feeling themselves, like, being like, human beings and adjusting to their feelings and things like that. Like, it's an odd feeling seeing that happen. Like, it's very vibrant. Like, in many different ways, like the spectrum of that word. Like, it's a very vibrant feeling to see your kids grow and be something different and like adjust to themselves and the world around them. I am feeling more open with myself, and like I'm lending myself to be a little bit more selfish, a little bit more conscientious, less internalizing my pain and struggles. Because you guys know me, I'm always talking about like mental health and like the struggle that black people go through. I know a lot of black folks out there are sometimes put together or sometimes seen put together. But if you watch TikTok is letting a lot of people know that black people are not a monolith. And some black people can also dislike other black people. And, like, to see that happening, like, to have me get a full view of that, like, how some black people can just, like, discriminate against other black people simply for being black is... it's relieving, and it's also disgusting and annoying, but it's also, like, comforting to know, like, hey, when a black person discriminates against me, like, it's not just me being crazy. Like, they are being discriminatory against me. Or prejudice is probably, like, the more accurate word. But, going through 2016 and like at the heavy 2022 to all the way to 2020 to 2022 now, because 2020, like, the murder of George Floyd happened, but like to come out to the other side of that 2022, which is now, which is like a big political year of elections, it's a heavy feel, man. It's a definitely like a toll it takes on you to feel like the world is sometimes consuming, sometimes overbearing, sometimes too much. And to see how you come out on the other side, like to do self-care, to acknowledge your problems, to take accountability. I just posted a few days ago about what my ABCs of living is. Like, A is accountability, B is boundaries, and C is choice. Like, if you don't have all those three things, like, then, like, what are you really doing? Like, you got to be able to hold yourself and others accountable. You got to be able to set your boundaries and respect others' boundaries. You got to be able to make like the choice that you want to make in your life, and like what you want to make your choice, like to have others around you do and say, and like, and or like interact with you, because like it's not just your life that you're constantly like wavering. Like, it's like the choices you make with others in your life constantly. And like there's more. There's 26 letters in the alphabet, and like in the English alphabet. And, like, I'm focusing on those three right now. Maybe in a couple of years, I'll move and progress myself to a new stage that I won't, like, even, like, acknowledge, though, because they'll be so ingrained inside of me. But I got to tell you, like, and I know I talk about this a lot, but, like, that's why I watch Star Trek. Like, Star Trek shows me, like, the template of, like, what humanoids, like, adults would usually act like. They would respect others' boundaries. They will, like, listen to other people. Even if, like, they don't agree about something, they won't discriminate or persecute or use like systematic like regimes like to bring others down. And like the systematic oppression is so written inside of like this country in particular, America, and that it's really hard to see like ourselves to the other side, because like if it's not religion that's bringing you down, it's like the Constitution itself. It's not the Constitution bringing us, like the amendments on top of it. If it's not that, it's a segregation. It's not that, like it's like the new hyper Jim Crow laws that have been putting out there. It's gerrymandering. It's like a lot of different things that really like if you think about it all the time, can really like bring you down. And that's kind of why I've taken a break from posting about that kind of stuff on Twitter and Instagram, because it does bring me down after a while. That's why I keep it in my stories sometimes. But I do acknowledge it. I listen to news all the time. I read news articles all the time. Like, I pay attention to what's happening to the world, because as I always say also, you can't really escape something unless you're taking part in it, which is why I find time to talk about politics on every episode. Like, I have to, because that's why we're here, man. Like, everything is politics. Everything. So I think that's the show. I think that's it. Again, I hope you guys are doing well. Make sure you check out some more shows of FTO. The weekly roundup every Friday on Twitter. Yeah, on Twitter. Twitter Spaces. I know some folks showed up last week. I know my buddy Chris from childhood showed up there. Milton, not Miguel. That was a dick move on my part. He showed up there to talk about a few things from Superheroes in Color. Talk about like some stuff. It was a fun time. Like to talk about that, like, and to help people actually join and talk about the stuff also. Like, we're gonna talk about Batgirl this week. I mean, we gotta do, right? We gotta talk about Batgirl. I mean, we gotta. So it's a weird thing. I want this movie to be seen, but like, I want to see what they do. I'll be patient. I'll see what DC does. It was DC Week, like DC Week. That's the show. That's the name of the show. It's DC Week. I should probably do a better job with these titles. But you know what? Well, where's the fun in that, right? All right. Thank you all. Until next time, you guys take it easy. Hey guys, D here of FTO Nerd Talk. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, tell your friends about FTO Nerd Talk. Got a lot of different shows for all of you. Make sure you tune in every week for a brand new episode. Take it easy.